the world, and they took on variations and combinations from every language they encountered. They accused each other of being too fast, too slow, and too loud. They could keep tracking the buck, as they had all night, but it would be a while before they got close enough to kill it. Then again, if they pressed hard enough, the buck wouldn't have the energy to run away from them again. It happened from time to time. In matters of pursuit, they could outlast almost anything in the world. Even the humans had to work hard to keep up with them for as long as they could keep their running pace. Tempers flared, and a handful of the local creatures looked on. The goblins seemed one snap away from murdering each other. It was a tried-and-true means of keeping their strength up. Fresh arrows were drawn, knocked, and looked one wrong word away from punching into their comrades. Their voices quieted when another noise joined the sound of birds from around them. Hooves thundered in the distance. The trio of goblins returned the arrows to their quivers and gathered. The argument ceased, forgotten. Their long ears flicked toward the origins of the hoofbeats, and the three turned away from their position, descending from the small hillock they'd positioned themselves on. Another noise filled the morning air. It quieted all others, filled the goblins with fear, and drove them faster than any other sound in nature could. It cut through their bickering and near-murderous animosity, and urged them to run instead. A dragon's roar. All three broke into a run, not bothering to collect their spent arrows as they rushed for cover, chittering and chattering about what to do next. The dragon couldn't have been hunting them. 3 goblins weren't worth the effort, not unless they were in the dragon's lair. No, the beast had to be hunting whoever was on the horse. The goblins hid under a small overhang of rock jutting from the hillside. They jostled for a few moments before they were able to fit comfortably. A few seconds later, as they went completely still, they turned into nothing more than a small hump of earth and bristling scrub with a glint of wide eyes. The hoofbeats grew closer and closer until a massive stallion came into view. Taller than they were 3 or 4 times over, sweat slicked its black coat as it vaulted over the rock. Beast and rider plunged past at a reckless speed. The goblins knew galloping across that terrain was a good way to break a leg. Then again, that was preferable to what followed the horse. The scorched, tarry smell of dragon filled the air. The hiding creatures gagged. A blast of heat and flame followed the odor and filled the area. All 3 screeched and broke from their hiding place, their eyes watering, their squeals masked by the thunderous rumble of flame taking the hillside by storm. They barely avoided being caught in the fire, but their camouflage ignited from the heat. All 3 dove to the ground and rolled away from the fires to put out the flames on themselves. The rider continued at his breakneck speed with an odd grin. The horse didn't need prodding. He felt the danger approaching close behind, and seemed as elated as his rider, driving faster and faster across the rough terrain to stay ahead of the flames licking through the landscape behind them. "Almost there, buddy," George shouted, pushing the visor of his helmet down over his face with his free hand. Practice made perfect, and over the past few years his skills as a rider had improved immensely. For one thing, he learned how to ride his horse without touching the reins. It wasn't a trick he liked to use often. In this case, it was best to let his steed control where they were going. He had a better view of the way ahead, which left George with the task of keeping an eye on everything coming up on them from above or behind. The dragon's hateful attention bore down on them. He and his horse shared the feeling, and it spurred his gelding faster without any need for him to add to it. The smell had followed the pair over the past few miles. He'd hoped that it would be more sluggish since it had recently woken up, but Marty's theory was proven correct. He would have to admit that Benjy's friend...